Alright, hello everyone, we got the patch that came out. Obviously this will be alongside a main channel video, but this is going to be my early initial thoughts on the patch and what I think about it. Let me get the obvious out of the way, right? Let me get the very obvious out of the way. Nothing that's really broken is going to be different. The best weapons in the game were basically untouched in this patch, which doesn't really surprise me that much. It's been an extremely volatile 3 months. So, like, you know, that's it to be expected. However, there are a lot of relevant buffs here that I think we're talking about. Before we get into the buffs, though, I feel like it's worth talking about these three, right? These three have been where I've seen the majority of discussion, right? Because these are all reworks, right? So, let's start with Splash, right? So, Splash is getting the 3% range increase that a bunch of the other stuff has gotten. Now, to clarify, Splash will still be shorter range than, like, Zap, Shot, 52, etc. It's still going to be shorter than all of them. But it'll have a little bit better fighting range. In exchange, though, Splash also has a small paint nerf. It will paint 3% worse, right? So, if you're Neo Splash, where special spamming is your whole identity, I think it's overall a nerf. But I think for V-Splash, this is a buff, and personally, I'm fine with it, right? Because we have toned Burst Bomb back. We have toned Crab Tank back. Right? We've toned both of these things back already. So I feel like putting the power a little bit more into the main weapon fighting capability is fine, right? So I think this is a fair trade-off. You know, I'm fine with it. I don't think Splash will change very much. But, like, it fits the direction of the weapon, right? Support, and especially V-Splash, has become more fighting heavy over the past few months. This change adapts Splash to fit closer to that. I honestly have less to say about 52. 52 has bullets that now travel faster. Which, I know 52 has gotten, like, 8 quintillion buffs, and it's, like, a meme at this point, and now we have another one that we're adding to the list, and I get it. But shot velocity with 52 is, like, something it's actually, like, it's not bad, but it could be better, right? It just makes it so that you don't have to lead your shots as much. In exchange, they're toning back the thing that everyone complains about with 52, which is 52 doing this. And having perma wall uptime, right? Because now this is 15% more ink hungry. And again, do I think this will change the weapon very much? No, absolutely not. But, like, you guys gotta understand, this was the #1 thing that needed to happen with this weapon. This was the thing that caused the weapon to be unhealthy. The wall spam stuff is the, like, biggest issue with the gun. I am totally fine with the gun being stronger in other areas if this is toned back. Like, that's fine to me. Okay. I'm gonna get to this last. I'm gonna talk about this last. Because these two are small number changes, right? They're good direction, but, like, they're not gonna really change much in terms of the weapon spot. Like, it just doesn't matter that much. This is a full-on rework, and I want to talk about that later. Nova. Dude, how many accuracy buffs has Nova gotten at this point? Like, I kind of want to see a comparison between, like, Nova after this change and Nova before. Like, before all the buffs. I hate to admit it, because, like, I know this weapon is seen as a joke. But, like, Nova's accuracy might actually be, like, its kill time might feel less ass. I think the buffs have gone enough to where it might actually help with that problem. I don't think either of Nova's kits are very relevant right now, though, so I still don't think we're gonna see it. But yeah. Clash paints 13% better by paint droplets. And this is another problem that, like, Clash actually needed fixed. Like, this isn't a random change. And this is something I've known for forever. I don't think I've talked about it very much. Right? Look at this, right? Here's a line. Here's a line. 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 But it's a little, like, it's a little thin sometimes. It's a little inconsistent. Sometimes there's some gaps. Like this gap here in the middle, right? See how there's this little jump out of the ink? It's like this tiny little problem. Right here it is there. Where, like, you see how there's these little holes every single time? Like here, there's a little hole. This is actually a problem, right? Because ideally this gun wants to shoot and move. But, like, if I shoot and I see there's a hole in my painting path, like, it affects how I move in. This is very similar to Wiper, right? Like how Wiper got changed. Except it's less significant, right? So, like, sure. Will it be like a broken weapon? No. But it's a good change. Okay. So after talking about things that addressed a problem pretty directly, let's talk about dowsers. So, Dowser Dooley's shot velocity. I mean, yeah. It's kind of slow. This is admittedly kind of slow. Even in turret mode, it's kind of slow. It's just masked better by the, like, frequent amount of bullets. But, like, these still travel kind of slow. I feel paint is what it needs, but, like, this might be an overlooked buff. Admittedly, I do feel this will help with, like, tracking people properly at, like, max ranges, especially in your standard fire. I could see it having an impact. Probably a smaller change compared to everything else. And recycle. Okay. So I did the numbers on recycle Brella, actually. I calced these, right? These might be slightly off, because it says approximately, right? So this might not be exactly what it is. But recycle Brella right now... I love the Dowser buff. It's going to make it a bit more different than Jet. Jet already has good shot velocity, I think. I'm pretty sure this is actually making it more similar. I could be wrong, though. Okay. So Brella's shield right now is 100, 200. That's the numbers on it right now, right? After this patch, 133, 240. That's the numbers. Held is 133, launched is 240, up from 100, 200. That's the number changes, right? Assuming these don't stack. That's assuming these don't stack together. Which is what, like, that's what's implied by the notes. But there is also a small possibility that, like, this 130 number is being cut by 20 here. But I doubt that. Now, here's the thing. This might sound small, but Recycle gets a lot of shields. So, like, these smaller number changes do actually matter. And the second factor is that this is the main problem with the gun. It has damage. Like, Recycle actually has quite a lot. Recycle has good damage. It has good kill time, like, for its range value. It has good paint. Like, this paint is solid, especially with the shield. Like, the shield paint is really good. And its uptime is good. Like, it has a lot of stats. And it has bubble, and bubble is also very good. Like, the only, like, the bad things about this weapon are the dart and the shield HP. That's its worst parts of the weapon. Now it has more shield HP. This weapon got, like, 3,500 in solo this season. Like, last season, I mean. I see potential in this weapon. Now, I think a lot of this depends on, like, how much does the shield numbers actually tank. I don't know. But I do think it has a chance of being more useful now. I think Recycle has a lot of things going for it. If this shield change allows it to get better one-on-one fights, then I could see it being impactful. Alright, Twitch has ads. RIP Twitch. Thanks for the ad revenue, though. What's next on the list? Okay, we'll talk about Caster while Twitch is in ads, because this is the least impactful change of the patch. Zipcaster is getting a 9% larger area that deals 45 damage. So it'll be a little bit more consistent at doing 45 damage on people. That's it. It is a tiny, tiny change. But, like, sure, you know. I'm fine with more consistency on Caster. I don't have a big problem. It's fine. It doesn't really mean anything to me. But, like, alright. Now, ink vacuum. So, first off, I don't give a shit about the 10% larger explosion at the end. Like, does it matter? Absolutely. Is it gonna change that much? No, of course not. Here's what matters. How big is this number? Right now, ink vacuum can absorb 800 HP. And ink vacuum is kind of unique. There is no damage multiplier numbers against it. Like, however much damage your thing does to the dummy is how much damage you do to ink vacuum. There is no multipliers. So, like, stamp or charge slashes are not good at filling vacuum. As far as I'm aware, this is accurate. I might be wrong, but, like, I'm pretty sure that's how it is, right? So, if that's the case, right, then this number matters a lot. This matters a lot. So, the question is, how big is this fucking number? Why on earth aren't we being given the number? Please, Nintendo, please, give us the number. Now, here's my guess. It absorbs 800 right now. 1,000 is a clean number. I'd guess it's going to be 1,000. That would be my guess. But we don't know. So how good is this buff? We won't know until the patch drops. Like, we're not going to know until then. If the number's big, though, it's not 10. 10% is for this. It's not for this. We don't know. I am going to guess 1,000. If it is 1,000, I could see it. I think what would happen with the larger number, it would force more emphasis on things that can, like, kill through vacuum. You know? Like, filling vac is just a weaker option. So I think it would just force more emphasis on that. Which, you know what? Sure. I'm fine with that. Alright, Inkstorm. Okay, guys. I'm gonna show you something, okay? Or I'm not gonna put it on stream because I forgot to put it up. I'm gonna show you guys the Inkopedia page for Inkstorm. Now, I want to tell you guys that Inkstorm used to be meta in Splatoon 2. Okay, Inkopedia isn't loading. Inkopedia, can we load, please? Can we pull up Inkstorm? Hello? Hello? Chrome? Or Firefox, you want to load? Alright, it's not loading. You guys are going to have to take my word for this, because the thing is not loading on my end. Inkstorm became meta in S2 after a radius buff. Now, 18% radius doesn't sound like a lot, right? However, do you guys know math? You guys know math, right? How do we calculate how do we calculate the fucking circle? You guys know the formula for that, right? Who knows the formula for it? Who did math class? Who wants to put it in chat? Who wants to calc how much 18% is? 2 pi r squared. Right, so 0.18 times 3.14, or sorry, 3.14 times, you know, whatever the radius is, r squared. This is enough. Okay, someone did the math in chat for me before I figured out how to type it in. That is 30%, 36% larger AoE. Actually, that's just double. That's diameter. That's diameter, actually. That's not even the right number. Alright, you know what? We're not going to do the math. I don't want to get this wrong. I'm going to embarrass myself. We're not pro math tonight. Alright. I do want to say, right? 18% radius size is a lot larger than it looks. Storm is going to be large. And that means it's going to do damage in a wider radius, it's going to be painting better, and it's going to be controlling area for longer. And remember, rain heals! Rain heals you! So the zone in which you get healed is now larger too. 39% more area. Okay, there we go. Someone in chat did do the math. 39%. Like, that's an insane fucking number. Can we put it on Brella? Thank you. Like, that's what I wanted to say. I was going to say that right after. 39.24% if we want to be technical, right? That's a lot. Now, do I think any Inkstorm weapon is going to be really good? Maybe V-Explo. I have faith in V-Explo, actually. This is our better worse chart in progress. V-Explo and Nautilus. These two are the weapons I'm looking at most. Because Naut already sees some use. I could see Nautilus being a threat, and then this and Rainmaker, maybe. Alright, briefly, points for special. Right? Zuka spam toned back. Yes, thank you. Thank you for toning back Zuka spam. 200p Dually Squelcher. Finally, thank you. 200p Splashdown. Yes. 190 for Explo. Yes, 190 good. 190 Kraken is good. Swig, sure. Chump, sure. And then, you know, 10. Yeah, that's all good. Paintbrush. Yeah, this gets picked for Zuka spam, like over the other paintbrushes. Fair change, right? And then Reflux, yeah. Very good in Turf, by the way. If you haven't seen, the Booyah Flux gets used in Turf. So yes, this was important. And then we have Brella. And I want you guys to look at this here. This is the first ever, or technically second, because GoodTuber got to 180 to 200 before launch. This is the first ever, since the game has launched, plus 20 this game has ever done. And it's on Sorella Brella. Now, here's what everyone's initial response is. God damn, the devs hate Brella, man. They hate Brella so bad. They hate Brella so much. But let's pause. Let's scroll down. Or let's scroll up. And let's talk about this. Let's talk about Brella. Okay? So first off, there is not one, but two painting buffs listed here. One of which is for the droplets, and one of which is for point of impact. So, what does this mean? Right? Let's look at this specifically. Let's look at Brella. Right? So, spray droplets is this part at the end, right? Look how little this gun paints right now, by the way. This is the same as bucket, right? I've showed you this over and over again. And in fact, I'm going to show it again because after this isn't going to be the same. They are basically the same, right? Oh, you can't see. Here's bucket, and here's Brella. Okay? See how similar they are. Bucket's a little thinner, but paint's a bit more at the end, and Brella's a bit thicker here. That or it's just RNG, right? So, what parts of the Brella got changed? So, the pellet change, right? The expanded inking of spray droplets. That's this part here. You see this little bit at the end? That's what that means. So this paints more. The impact point is this. Right? So they buff the paint of everything. They buff the entire fucking thing's turf. This is now just going to be larger. So every time this gun shoots, like this will now be a bunch of thick lines. And then again, right, when you shoot over people and this paints like this, what does this remind you of? What is this like? Right? Actually, I can just show you like 10. Here, because 10 gets to do this. See how there's this huge area that can paint over people? That can trap them to make the follow-up easier? That's what this is. So Brella paints better, and it traps people. Now, I know everyone's worried, but how much is it? Is it really that good? And I think the answer is it's probably better than we think. The reason I think that is because they did this. And we'll talk about this more when they get to the notes. But the devs were basically saying, hey, when we did this change, this weapon got too many specials. That's what the devs basically said at the bottom, right? They were like, we gave Brella paint, but now Brella's special spams like crazy, and we had to tone it back. So it's probably a lot. So, like, is it 210? Sure. Do I give a shit if it's probably getting more specials than it does now anyway? No. Now, this number, this change here, is the scary one. This is the unknown factor. Because, like with ink vacuum, there's no specific numbers. Adjusted how shots spread out to make it so that shots scatter into a wider area than previously. How? How far? How does this work? How? No visual. I don't know what this looks like. I misspoke, apparently. Okay. So, to get more of an indicator, let's now look at the developer notes. Splash, they want you to, aim and fight more, and they wanted it to, be able to, they didn't want you to maintain battle without using special weapons, right? 52, we wanted them to run and defeat people quickly for big openings, but they didn't want it to, stall, right? Both of these are the same thing. They don't want the gun to sit there and get passive value. They want it to have to go in and, multi-kill to get its value, right? Brella gets, a fucking essay over here. So Brella, they say they expended the turfing power to make it easier to defend from attacks and keep opponents in check. So, what does this mean, right? What does this wording mean? What's the intention? Because I feel it's really important to understand this, right? They want to use this to keep opponents in check or to prolong the duration of value, like the duration of fighting. So what they want Brella to do is to sit in front of an opponent and shoot and shield and be able to hold the line. They want them to do this and not die as fast. That's it. That's the idea, right? So the paint, outside of painting better, is made to keep opponents back. It's made to paint over people. That is the idea, right? Pair that with Brella's shield, and it should be really good at sustaining. You shall not pass. Yes, that's the idea, right? Now, I'm not saying it'll actually be able to do that, by the way. I don't fucking know, right? But that's the idea. They expanded the area of its shots to make it, more distinct between it and other Brellas. This makes it easier to support allies by dealing small, reliable damage, while at the same time making it so one-on-one fights they must get much more closely to defeat opponents. And then we already do special spam, right? We can understand that this change is simple. Right. So, they specifically mention that it's easier to hit people. Right? Now, here's my question, right? This here, right? 2 pellets from Brella does 30 damage. Now, I don't think you guys need me to reiterate how important 30 damage is, right? So, if the shots are consistently dealing, 2 to 3 pellets and not, 16 damage, right? If I shoot like this, or even further, I guess. If I'm shooting here, and I'm consistently doing 30, right? That's really good. But it has to be at least 30. It has to be at least 30. If it's less than 30, this isn't good. But if I can spray, and just kind of spray and hold the line, and anyone who walks into me takes 30 damage, and then they blow up to my other Slayers, that's really good. And again, you couldn't do this before. Because you can't run Brella and, let's say we want to spec on this, right? Why couldn't we just do this before? Why not just run, Bucket Stamper, right? Why not run this? Well, you can't because you don't have enough paint. Now Brella shoots the floor. Brella paints. And Brella can get a tri-strike for your team to walk in. And it does 30 damage. You see where I'm going with this, right? They're making it a support. That's why I describe it as a rework. This is now a support gun. This is no longer vying for, like, the bucket slot or the stamper slot. This is now competing with your splashes, with your dually, with your dreadringer, right? That's the slot this weapon's trying to take up now. Now, this isn't without trade-offs, right? In exchange, Brella has to be closer to deal max damage. So, shooting from here and doing like this much is already not great, but now this will probably do less damage. Right? Here I'm still getting near max damage. This probably will not be doing as much damage. This will probably be like a 3-shot at this range instead of like a 2-shot. Which, first of all, this is usually going to be a 3-shot anyway against people that move. So like, fuck it, whatever. It doesn't kill anyway, right? So I know that sounds annoying because the damage is already not great, but like, dude, it doesn't fucking do damage anyway. I don't care if it still doesn't do damage if we give it something else. Like, it already doesn't do this. I'm not losing anything. We already lost the damage. This isn't taking anything away. It already didn't shoot people. So like, fuck it, I don't care. That's fine. Okay, I know this has been a lot, right? I know this has been a lot. So I want to stress here, okay? I don't know if this will be good. I don't know, right? I have no idea if this will actually work or not. But here's why I really like this anyway, okay? I like this. Do you know why I like this, chat? It's not a complicated reason. I like this change because for the first time since the damage nerf, the devs are fucking trying. This is a real ass attempt to fix this gun. And like, you know what? If they didn't want to fix it by making it do damage like it used to, even if I think it would be balanced, whatever, right? I wanted that route. I pushed for it. I advocated for it. But if they're not going to do it, then you better fucking throw something else at the wall. If you're not going to give it back what it had before, then try something. Let me see effort. This is effort. This is them actually fucking trying. And you know what? Maybe it'll even work. Maybe it'll even work, guys. And yeah, it's going to differentiate it from Recycle. Which is what we thought, right? You know, the second Recycle got put in the game, it's like, yeah, they're probably not going to, you know, make it overlap that heavily. That's fine. Now, personally, let me tell you guys personally, because I used to be, you know, one of the best Brellas in Splatoon 2. I played it for longer than any other Western player at a top level, right? This was like a career-defining weapon for me. Dread is kind of like that in this game, but Brella was like that for me in S2 for a lot longer. So I care about this weapon probably more than any other, right? Personally, as a Brella player, I don't think I was ever as aggressive as other Brellas. I do not think I was ever as good at skirmishing and taking ones. My playstyle came from stalling and shielding. I felt I was very good at knowing what angles to take, how to stall my life when it mattered, and how to secure important positions of the map with minimal resources to enable my team to use them in others. That's what I felt made my Brella good, right? So for me, right, this is fine. This fits how I play the game. At the same time, you know, I'm a support player. I don't want to switch to Brella if it's going to take up my bucket slot. I only want to play Brella if it's in that support role. Because there's no reason for me to switch off Dread to a frontline and vice versa. It fucks up everything. But if it's a support, then it makes sense for me to play it. Because this is the same role, but different utility. So, obviously, what I'm trying to tell you guys is the way they're changing Brella, even if it's not what I wanted, works out for me as a player pretty well. In terms of my ability to slot this in competitively, Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And if it's good, I'd play it. And I hope it is. I'm down to try it. I don't know if I'll like it. I don't know if it'll be good. But here's the thing. I right now play with Dually Sword. And I'd imagine Dually Sword will probably be really good with this weapon. Because this weapon showed its own jump, right? So does Dually. So does, you know, Stamper. This weapon can play with the same comps. Or if I play with, like, Bucket Stamper or Bucket S-Blast, Brella would also be good with that. So my weapon is good with the exact same stuff I played Dread with. If it's good, I can play both. Will it be good? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it'll be good. Who knows? We'll find out tomorrow, I guess. Okay, 1 second. Oh yeah, by the way, I'll also try out Recycle when I get back. I do not think I will implement Recycle. It doesn't make sense for me. I just talked about why Brella does. So I'd assume people can understand why Recycle wouldn't. But that said, I'm excited. I will stream tomorrow at some point, and we will try it out. Now, because of Riptide, I probably won't be able to get my full thoughts on this until after Riptide. So I won't know for sure. But I will try to get my day one impressions out, and we will see. But for now, there's a chance. For the first time in 3 years, there is a chance I play Brella. There's a chance it's good. And we'll have to see tomorrow. I'm excited for it. Alright. Finally. That is all my thoughts. That is everything I had to go over. This is the better or worse chart. I'm pretty sure it's complete. So take a look. This is everything that got changed. And if it's better or worse. And I will probably edit Brella's because Brella's is probably better. But we'll see. Well, everyone, that is it for now. We shall wait and see what happens, what the fate is with Brella and what the fate is with this patch. But I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you for watching.